Welcome to the Clarity Advisor Show, where you'll learn how to grow your team today. Join Ken Trupke and his guests as they discuss what works and doesn't work to grow your team in today's world. And now, your host, Ken Trupke.
Hello, and welcome to the Clarity Advisor Show. Connecting with people who could benefit from your business solution has always been a challenge. And in some ways, technology has made that even easier. But today, there's often so much noise you still can't get the attention you need. My guest today, Doug Heulitt, has extensive experience as a sales rep and sales manager, and now teaches sales reps how to use personalized video to connect with their best prospects. From the great state of Texas, welcome, Doug Heulitt.
Hey, Ken. How you doing today?
Hey, really, really good. So, Doug, what problem do you solve, and who are your customers?
No, that's a great question. So I train salespeople and nonprofit organizations how to build, know, like, and trust, earn attention through the use of personalized videos.
And how did you get started doing video?
Yeah, so I ran headfirst into a brick wall, and after COVID started, being able to guide and manage salespeople to get in front of their surgeon targets in the med tech space, we couldn't do it. We couldn't get into a hospital. The offices were shut. So we were faced with the challenge of how do you get in front of your ideal prospect if you can't get in front of your ideal prospect? So the most obvious solution was the use of personalized video. I took a course. Well, actually, first I tried doing it myself, and I fell flat on my face because the problem was I had never, ever in the 20 years of my career had ever been taught how to sell. I was taught features and benefits. I was taught how my product worked and how it worked relative to competition, but never how to sell it. And I ended up taking a course, and then ended up after that, I had so much fun taking the course and learning and seeing what an impact it had. I then went and started working with that organization to start teaching other people exactly that, how to use video to stand out in the sea of sameness, the ocean of ordinary, just to differentiate yourself from everyone else that's out there.
Well, I don't want you to necessarily give away all the secret sauce, but in a nutshell, what are the elements of good personalized video?
Honestly, I'm happy to give away. Look, my mentor in this space, Matthew Ray Scott, tremendous guy. And he's really focused on sharing this one concept, and it's this: give away your best ideas for free. So I have no problem rather sharing what I do. And I think here's my biggest takeaway that I try and make sure that all of my students leave with: that before they hit send on a video to one of their prospects, they ask themselves the question, what value am I bringing to this customer or potential customer? So often we just kind of talk about what it is that we do and think that, we're the center of the world. And the reality is our customers don't care about us. They don't care about my face or your face. They care about the thing that keeps them up at night. And if you ask yourself the question, how am I solving that pain point, that problem, that process for them? We're 16 miles down the road further than all the other competition who only focuses on selling their features and benefits.
Yeah, exactly. I love the way author Anthony Iannarino puts it. He said, sales is helping other people get what they couldn't get without your help. So we have a really important role to play as salespeople. We're helping people get what they need, what's good for them that they couldn't get without us. And so we need to be able to connect with them. But you're right, it's about solving their problem. It's not about dumping our bucket about all our features and benefits. So how do you do that in video? Are these 5-10 minute videos? Or are they 5-10 second videos? Or what exactly am I doing? And how am I getting them to the prospect?
Sure. So our approach and our focus is really building trust. And we build trust by joining our buyer or donor. We connect ourselves to them on their buying journey. So the first and foremost, we try and make sure that they, the students that we teach, we make sure that they understand how to earn attention right out of the gate. It's easy to get someone's attention, right? You could be a a schmuck and, do something crazy to get attention. But that's not the same thing as earning attention. So our goal, when you make an initial reach out through video, we want those videos to be no longer than 30 to 45 seconds. But we're adding value to our ideal prospect in that first 30 seconds. And what that does is it basically writes us an IOU. If I send you a video and you have absolutely no idea who I am, and I get you to click that video, and your time commitment is 30 seconds, and before you click on that video that it's only going to be a 30-second video, and I bring you some sort of value, I can guarantee that the next time I send you a video, you're going to open it, because I didn't lead with, hey, I'm Doug and I'm going to sell you a thing. Delete. Like, that's exactly what delete. I'm not watching anything else this guy has to say. But if I can relate to the problem that they have in the first 30 seconds and say, hey, if that's a priority for you, maybe it makes sense for us to chat. Have a good day. I mean, it's incredibly simple. Like the Three Stooges could do this. The problem is we fall into the traps of all the things that we've always been taught to do, which is talk features and benefits.
So the word value is to some degree in sales really overused. Everybody says, like, you put valuable content out there. You've got to bring value to your customer, have a value message, value proposition. When you say value, what do you mean? So in that 30 to 40 second video, what kind of value am I delivering?
So let's use the example of a surgeon. Okay. If I'm selling medical products to a surgeon, the reality is the product that I'm selling, let's say it's a spinal implant, because that's the industry I most recently came from. So if I'm selling a spinal implant and there's lots of them on the market and they're all the same and they all do the same thing. If I know the spine surgeon market space, I know that doctor is not laying in bed at night concerned about whether or not he should use product A or product B, because they're all the same. There's almost no differentiation. But what does keep that doctor awake at night is the fact that he needs patients to walk through his door, just like he's a retail, frozen yogurt shop. So going with that example, if I led off in a 30-second video and said, hey, doc, look, I know your spine practice is probably struggling with the same issue that all surgeons are dealing with, getting patients in your door. I read an article the other day about a frozen yogurt shop who had this really interesting way of getting people into her store. I thought about it, and I wonder if you couldn't apply a similar technology or a similar approach to you and your practice. Anyway, hope you have a great day, doc. That's it. I'm tying myself to the problem that they're facing, and I'm offering a free idea to maybe help give them something to think about. Maybe the idea is crap. Like, maybe it's an absolutely terrible idea. But the fact of the matter is, I didn't ask for anything. I didn't do what all salespeople generally do. Doc, I'd love an opportunity to come in and talk to you about X, Y, and Z. Or, hey, doc, I'd love to bring sandwiches into your office. Like that doesn't add value to anyone. I mean, maybe it makes lunchtime a little bit easier, but for the fact, the real fact is it adds no value, because it's not solving one of the 6 Ps that really is what bringing value is all about. Pain relief, problem solving, fixing a process, addressing profit issues. I'm not going to give you all the 6 Ps, but there's a few of them.
Yeah, no, that's great. That was so interesting, because for you to just upfront admit that, and presumably you're telling your prospects that too, that, look, guys, there's really no difference here. These products are all great. They're all going to work. Where I'm different is I'm going to bring solutions to you. And for example, I understand that bringing patients in your door is a problem, not which spine implant you're going to use. So let's talk about that. That seems great. I would believe that if I'm a surgeon with that problem, that I'd be open to watching your next video or being open to a phone call or whatever that next connection is.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think everyone, if you're selling a thing, your goal is to solve a problem, but sometimes the thing you sell does not solve a problem, or maybe people don't realize that that's a problem that they have. And if you know who your ideal customer is, or you've created a persona for who your ideal customer is, they all sort of fall into a similar category, and you can research that industry and understand the problems that are facing them and, come up with interesting solutions. It's actually made my career in sales fun again because I'm not in one particular industry. I'm across all industries and working with people in, software as a service sales, working with med tech people, working in nonprofits and Christian nonprofits. And so working with all of these different industries, there is no one thing that I could just keep pointing to and use that as an example. But trying to better understand their market space and their industry, and then try to understand what problems those people, their customers are facing, and then working with them to try and create, okay, what about this? Is this a big enough problem for them? And then we work collaboratively to come up with, I'll call it a script, but that's not really what it is. We're not necessarily, writing and holding up cue cards and now say this, but rather a train of thought about how you can concisely convey your message to your ideal customer and address a problem that they have.
That's so good. I've got a couple more questions about video, and then I want to jump back into your earlier sales and sales management career. And we're going to do that on the other side of the break. We're talking with Doug Heulitt today. Stay with us on the Clarity Advisor Show.
Is your business where you want it to be or on track to get there? Clarity Advisors helps business leaders improve communication and get your team aligned and engaged for greater success. We specialize in helping you streamline your sales and operating systems to improve efficiency and grow your profits. Call or text Ken at 616-822-2998 to have a complimentary 12-minute call to see what some clarity could do for you.
Okay, welcome back to the Clarity Advisor Show. Today we're talking with sales trainer who focuses on video, Doug Heulitt. And Doug, before the break, we were talking about that example of the spinal surgeon whose real issue that he's concerned about and would love to talk about is getting patients in the door, not necessarily which implant or not to use. So if somebody was new in an industry, how do I get that kind of second level of understanding to know that the real problem he has is getting patients in the door, not which spinal implant is better? How do I get that information in order to deliver that value to that prospect?
Sure. That's a great question. Obviously, talking to your coworkers, your boss, people who have industry experience are going to be able to provide you with some of those basics so that you understand the industry as a whole. But more recently, something that has come to the forefront of literally everyone's product is AI. Now, personally, I don't think artificial intelligence is something that we should all be running to, unless, of course, AI stands for authentic interaction. Because as everyone moves to AI, every company is trying to automate every process and interaction. However, the one place where I think artificial intelligence is actually useful is in bettering your understanding of a particular industry. So using something like ChatGPT, people can write a prompt that can ask those questions. What are the 5 biggest issues facing the insert industry area? And then through regenerative prompts, you can further refine what some of those issues are. You can get a better understanding of how it's impacting people. What is an ROI issue that may be affecting them? What are some solutions that could help to address those concerns? So I've actually found, unfortunately, that artificial intelligence has been really helpful, things like ChatGPT, for better understanding certain industries that I may not have any experience with.
So use the AI artificial intelligence to have an AI authentic interaction. Is that that's the
Amen.
sequence of events here?
Very, very well said.
Okay, great. Well, Doug, I want to take us back. You've been doing sales for a long time, a couple of decades. Take us back. How did you even get into sales, and what were some of your early roles?
So for as long as I can remember, I was in college and it was suggested that I get into sales, and I wanted nothing to do with sales. At the time I think I had the view of salespeople that a lot of people have, right? Like you're scamming people, you're selling things that they don't need. And eventually I started my career in healthcare consulting. And it just wasn't for me. I didn't have any, people interaction. And I was craving being able to work with people and solve problems. And it just sort of happened. I realized that I did want to explore a career in sales. And I was interviewing at a pharmaceutical company. And I got to the last stage, and the woman that I was interviewing with left to go to another company. And her replacement made me start back at the beginning. And I thought, holy crap, like this was already like a 4-month process. And in that process, they told me that I didn't have any sales experience. So I quit my job, and I went and I went and joined a team of one, as an ad sales person for a daily newspaper that was free in Cambridge, Massachusetts. So I went from no sales experience to, okay, I'm the only thing keeping the lights on for this guy. And this was his dream. So I started selling ad space, and continued the interview process with that pharmaceutical company, and realized I didn't want to do pharmaceutical sales. And somewhere along that way, somebody introduced me and sent my resume to a guy working at a medical device company. And at the time, the company was the company. It was the best company that you could work for in this space. And I got an email that said, like, hey, we'd like you to come in and interview. So I went on to a job search board, and I saw that there is no chance in all that is holy that I'm going to get this job, because I do not fill any of these requirements, like none of them. And inadvertently, in the middle of the interview, I told a story how I was living in Boston at the time, and I had taken a clock apart and put it back together again and put toggle switches on it because I kept losing power in my apartment, and I hated the holding down and then, to set the time or the hour. And that resonated with the guy. He gave me the job right there. And I got started doing orthopedic trauma for a company called Synthes. And I did that for 7 years. So for 7 years, I had no vacation. I had no days off. I had no one to support me. It was just me working every day at the hospital for 7 years. Eventually met my wife and realized that I was never going to see her, and I needed to make a change. So I moved over into spine, started selling spinal implants and hardware. And that really is sort of where I stayed for the rest of my career. I made some small movements here and there over the years, but I started in sales. I then moved into sales management. Then I moved into product marketing for a spinal company, back into sales, and then back into sales management, and then back into the spine world.
That's fantastic. So I want to talk about sales management. That's always super interesting to me, because leading teams is always challenging, but it seems like leading sales teams is just an extra degree of difficulty. So what were some of the things that you did as a sales manager that really worked well?
In med device, generally, the industry is broken up into direct employees who are salespeople, and then external, what we call distributors, different sales channels. I started my career managing direct reps. And the first thing I did was, well, I know everything because I've done this job. So I started implementing all these things that worked for me. And I made a lot of enemies of my sales team. And they were struggling at the time, and I was taking over a territory that needed to be turned around. And I realized that what I was doing was not working, and I wasn't winning any allies. So I did a program that I called Start, Stop, Continue. So I got some other person from the organization to come in, and I sat down and introduced to my entire sales team. We were all together live. And I said, okay, I need you guys I'm going to leave the room, but I need you to write down all the things you want me to start doing, all the things that I need to stop doing, and all the things that are actually helping you and being valuable to you, and all the things, those things are the things you want me to continue to do. And I came back in the room, and they gave me the list of all the things that I was, where I was making things frustrating for them, where I was doing good things and actually helping them, and then things that they as a team felt that would be beneficial if I started to do. And that, it took me a month to realize that I was, not making any friends. But after that initiative, they realized that I truly was there to try and help them. And that had a huge impact on our overall success as a sales team.
Yeah, that's great. I'm a big fan of the start, stop, keep list. That's something that I've implemented and used frequently as well throughout my career. It's a great way to draw out from people the things that, like you said, are working and not working. And let's make some adjustments here. And you want to hear from them about what that is rather than always thinking the leader has to have the answer. Well, Doug, now in your role as a sales trainer, primarily these days, you're seeing a lot of salespeople, talking to a lot of sales manager. What are you seeing that's different today than it was, earlier in your career when you were in the field selling? What's different about selling today?
So ironically, the question you asked was in dealing with reps and sales management. The funny thing is, sales management is not approaching me to help their team implement, a different way of selling. It's coming from the sales people themselves. They're frustrated. They're in many ways feel like sales management is disengaged. And, sales management is hyper focused on profit, but the sales rep is focused on the process. And, if you've never been trained how to sell something and your boss just keeps saying like, yeah, so just do more of whatever you're doing. If it's not working, that's not a recipe for success. So I'm often approached by the sales rep. And, I think a lot of that flows from the fact that sales managers generally have been promoted because they were good salespeople, but not necessarily have they ever learned how to manage someone, or more importantly, how to manage a salesperson. As a matter of fact, I know early in my career, I know that I was probably a handful because I asked 1,000 questions. And I had a boss who was a great guy, but we did not see eye to eye on how things should be done. It was, this is what worked for him, so that's what we should do. And we butted heads constantly. And it wasn't until I became a manager that I one day just called him up out of the blue and was like, hey, Tim, I'm real sorry. Like I was a pain in your what, because, of just how we engaged and interacted. And I learned a lot from actually becoming a manager. But I think the bigger problem is that sales managers, for the most part today, aren't trying to solve problems for their sales team. And I think that's a big change. I think there was a period of time where there were sales management programs within organizations. And I'm speaking from my experience in medtech sales. But in medtech sales, there aren't training programs for, certainly on the smaller companies, for people to become good managers. They take somebody who is a super rep and then they promote them and go, all right, well, just, make everybody do what you were doing. And unfortunately, what worked 15 years ago or 20 years ago is a process that doesn't work today. Again, trying to get in front of people, COVID showed customers that they don't need to take meetings. And if you can't get in front of your, this is the original question. If you can't get in front of your target audience, how do you sell to them? And reps, unfortunately, they recognize that something is wrong. They recognize that they can't get in front of people, but they don't know how to do it. And all they're ever told is just do more. And, forgive me, but, when people talk about, hashtag culture, hashtag hustle and hashtag grind, I don't want to employ a sales approach that implies that at the end of which there will be nothing left of me, right? If I grind something down, there's nothing left at the end. And the idea that just doing more of a thing that doesn't work, foolish. So salespeople are recognizing that it's become really hard. There's been so many more emails sent to their ideal customers that everything that they're doing is just more noise. Like, here's an example. My last company sent this email to a doctor. Like, that's a wall of text. You're giving somebody a homework assignment by asking them to read that and find the value there. But when you use something like a video and summarize that and say, hey, here's this video. I took the liberty of summarizing what's important. It's these 2 bullet points, Doc. Hope that helps. Have a great day. I mean, that's what we're trying to do is solve problems, not make the sales rep's job even harder by, badgering them over the head with, where are your results? So that's what we hope to solve.
Oh, that's so good. There's so much goodness in there. And yeah, I agree. It's tough because there is more pressure to sell. And I agree, sales managers are typically often the best salesperson who are now promoted to be sales manager, and they haven't been trained and they aren't trained, and all they know is what they know. And that, if depending on how long they've been doing it, might not work anymore, and all those things. So Doug, this has been fantastic.
Oh,
So
great.
much good information. What's the best way for someone to reach out, and who should reach out to you?
So honestly, it is anyone who deals with customers, potential customers, donors, potential donors, even customer service. Like, as if you have a question and you try and reach out to a company that you're currently working with, you're probably going to get a bot that responds to you. You and I, we're all craving human interaction. And what video enables us to do is to connect through our humanity. People often think that a video requires a lot of editing, highly produced, so there's no mistakes. You remove all the ahs and the ums. Man, I'm a one-take wonder each and every time. I record a video and I send it because that's authentically and genuinely me. So I can help anyone who is in the sales world or in the fundraising space looking to build connections with their ideal customers or donors. And I can be reached at Doug@DougHeulitt.com. It's pretty simple.
All right, fantastic. We'll get that in the show notes so people have a direct link to that. Again, Doug, I appreciate your time. This has been a wealth of information and a little eye-opening for me too. I had not thought about video being as necessary today as the case that you make for it. And I love the authentic interaction acronym for AI as an alternative to artificial intelligence. That's really good too. So thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Ken.
Oh, you're welcome. And that brings us to the end of another Clarity Advisor show. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you could be so kind as to leave a 5-star review on the platform you are viewing or listening to on, that would be amazing as well. And we'll see you next time on the Clarity Advisor show.
Thank you for listening to the Clarity Advisor show. Clarity Advisors is a speaking, training, and consulting firm specializing in helping you simplify your sales and operating systems to improve efficiency and grow your profits. Connect with Clarity Advisors today to learn more about how they can help you improve communication and get your team aligned and engaged for greater success.